Seth Rollins' heel turn has finally happened. We don't have to have a feud with any other wrestling YouTubers anymore. We can all agree it's been official. He literally did.
Oh, here we go. Acting, live acting.
Heel turn. Drake Maverick. Welcome to the Raw review edition of WrestleTalk Live. I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. Please press the thumbs up button. Give us a subscribe. Leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on Seth Rollins' heel turn. And the Super Chat Party is back. Get in your Super Chats because we'll be getting to 5 minutes of those after the first discussion point. Then we're going to review the whole show. Then we're going to do as many Super Chats as we can in the remaining time before the end of this hour, at which point this show will end. But we'll answer all the rest of the Super Chats over on WrestleTalk.com and the live stream will continue.
It's the best of both worlds.
And not just that, I don't know if it's happened yet, but live cut. Live cut. I'm sure that went down fantastically.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're sponsored by Beer 52. Go over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get a free case of 10 craft beers, UK viewers only. You only have to pay for postage and packaging. I literally just got one for my dad for Christmas.
I got one.
Don't tell him.
Yeah.
It's a surprise.
I got one for my father as well for his birthday / Christmas. But also, I've been a subscriber now for nearly 5 years with Beer 52. Bloody love it.
There you go. So, Seth Rollins actually turned heel on last night's episode of Raw. This has been brewing, well, since the summer on Twitter.
Yes, on Twitter,
But
not intentionally.
In WWE terms, it's only been brewing the night after Survivor Series, where Seth turns up. He has a rah-rah speech in front of the locker room, sort of blames them for Team Raw losing so significantly.
You say sort of, but that's exactly what he did. He blamed Raw for losing.
Yeah, he totally blamed Raw. And then there was a tease that he was working with AOP because AOP kept sort of just taking out Kevin Owens.
That's it. Yeah, it's crazy to think this has been a 2-week storyline because Survivor Series has only really come to an end a couple of weeks ago. And on that show was where we had the AOP thing. Then last week was where it was, hey, is Seth working with AOP? And then this week was like, yeah, he totally is.
Yeah. It's a 3-episode, but really 2-week storyline.
It's a
There's
hashtag
a lot of
3-week
mileage
push.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I was mostly down on this, apart from the actual nature of the reveal. I was really into this storyline over the last 2 Mondays because I thought it had a lot of mileage. But they have, and I said this in my review earlier, they have both undermined and hot-shotted at the same time.
Yeah, totally. Like, I was thinking about this. Like, there's a very easy way to have done this storyline and really didn't have to change a lot about it to have had that heel turn have more impact. And that would have just been not have Seth do that speech, not be dressed all in black in his black leather jacket, not have him essentially be a heel for the last 2 weeks and then be like, by the way, I'm a heel now. And just have it as that you play up the ambiguity of, is he working with AOP? Is AOP working with him? And lead a lot of fans to speculate on that fact, as opposed to us going like, yeah, no, we're all pretty sure he is. And then, yeah, maybe have Owens and Seth versus AOP at TLC. You could have had the heel turn there, saved it for, the Rumble or something like that, but really tease this out as opposed to, as you say, hotshot it.
Yeah, one of the I keep thinking about CM Punk's heel turn against Jeff Hardy. I want to say 2009. It was really, really good. And that's because he told that story, well, at least in my mind, he told that story over like 2 months where he was like, first he was blaming injuries for not facing him and stuff like that. I bet if I went back, that was probably 3 episodes of SmackDown.
Yeah.
But let's quickly run through what actually happened on this episode. Kevin Owens is sort of blaming Seth Rollins and AOP working together. No reference to how Kevin Owens was effectively kidnapped last week.
No, he said that he was kidnapped last week, but luckily he escaped. And that was it.
It's bad storytelling. And then Owens goes hunting for AOP, like a sort of children's book is how this is structured. He bumps into Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio gives him the bat.
Yeah, take this. You will need this.
Yeah. And then he asks Mojo Rawley.
It's dangerous out there.
Where AOP might be, and Mojo Rawley's like, this way? No, it was this way. Psych.
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens slapped him. And then this sort of materialized in Kevin Owens. Well, Seth was in the ring interrupting a Street Profits respect angle.
Yeah, and again, this is just like, you can't really sort of pretend that Seth wasn't a heel when he's doing things like this and then expect us to react when he does turn heel or when he, quote, turns heel.
Yeah, there was no intrigue there. Like, if you had another chapter of where Seth is actually doing babyface things, you're like, oh, maybe he is okay then.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seth comes down and says, let's team together against AOP KO. And KO says no because he's a smart babyface, which I really like.
I really like that.
And then Seth walks off, says, fine, I'm leaving then. And I think they were meant to give the impression that he was leaving completely. But
leaving the building?
Yeah.
I never got that impression. I just got that he was, I'm off. I'm not going to be in the ring with you because you're acting like a jerk.
And weirdly, we'll get to this later when we do the full breakdown, Sami Zayn turns up with Mojo Rawley.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like...
SmackDown Sami Zayn has a brief altercation with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where, like, when you look back on Raw, you're like, oh, yeah, Sami Zayn is now the manager of Mojo Rawley.
Yeah. It's weird 2019, folks.
Yeah.
I can't wait to add that to our storylines that were dropped list. And then Kevin Owens, he's been searching all night, finds AOP's car, their SUV thing, and he starts hammering on it with the bat that didn't beat Brock Lesnar.
The lead pipe.
Mm-hmm. And he gets to the back and he opens the door, and initially it looks like it's empty.
Yeah. I thought it was actually shot to look like it was. I thought it was empty.
Yeah.
And I thought that was to be the big reveal. It was like, oh, it's empty. Whereas I was like, yeah, of course it's empty.
Yeah. But then AOP start beating Rollins down. Owens down. Good point. That would have been intrigue, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would have thrown us off the scent. And then while Kevin Owens is being beaten up, the chair, and this is a pretty specialized thing, right?
Yeah, the camera pans back to the SUV. And yeah, the chair swivels around like the swivel chairs that we are in for this.
But in a car.
And it swivels around to be just like, Mr. Bond, I've been expecting you.
Do you think it's the same sort of chair in Ecto 1 in the trailer? And it comes out the side, the gun turret one?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's that cool, but
no.
Who knows?
Well, Finnan of Seth Rollins' gimmick. This was not cool.
Yeah, okay, so it turns around to be the big, and it's a guy in a hoodie, and he has the hood down, and then he lifts the hoodie up to reveal it's Seth Rollins. Now, the only way this reveal works is if it's not Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Because...
Or if it's someone else. Yeah. Luke's a bit ill.
Sorry. What we've done for the last 3 weeks is be like, Seth's working with AOP. Seth's working with AOP. And the big reveal is Seth was working with AOP. Yeah, and then we're like,
completely caught me by
be
surprise.
surprised.
Yeah, so, and the crowd reacted in kind. Did you hear them? They went, oh.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I figured, yeah.
That was this. This is meant to be a really big plot point.
Yeah.
The confirmation of a heel turn. And the crowd, which were an awful crowd all night.
Yeah.
They go,
oh yeah, okay, cool. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much that's what I was expecting. But if it was like, if it had been John Morrison, people would be like, whoa, well, I didn't see that coming.
Someone commented on my video earlier that it should have been CM Punk. And I thought that would have made so much sense.
Yeah.
And would have been huge.
I
wouldn't have wanted it to happen,
yeah.
but wow.
I saw someone last week say on our video that they think that Samoa Joe's the mastermind, which I thought would have also been really, really cool.
I actually thought it was going to be Sami Zayn.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't think it would have been... Because, he, just weirdly appeared in the segment earlier with Owens.
Actually, yeah, that would have been... And he has now got a managerial license for Raw, which he could have been AOP's new manager, their third manager.
Jeez. Yeah, is Seth Rollins their manager now?
No, they're more of a faction.
Anyway, Seth does do a cool sort of, I'm sorry, Kevin.
Kev.
And stomps him on the concrete. And then he comes out to the live crowd and cuts a promo on us fans.
You fans.
And in this case, it works. It totally works, because I thought this was the exact right character motivation for his heel turn.
Becky's promo last year, when she did the You Fans promo, fell flat on its ass because the fans had been 100% behind Becky Lynch as a babyface. But since Hell in a Cell, this crowd, this WWE crowd, has not been into Rollins.
But interestingly, Rollins pointed out that he was not with AOP all this time.
Yeah,
It was the crowd's reaction over the last couple of weeks that made him finally decide to team with AOP. So that literally just happened in the last week, in his, if we are to believe him. So yeah, that's the and KO stretched it off backstage. I thought
they were struggling to get that stretcher in.
Awkward, wasn't it? I thought Braun Strowman was going to run. I'm not finished with you. Tip over the whole ambulance.
But I thought Seth got a really good promo here. I really like Seth's promo. I've seen a few people say it's a Bret Hart promo. I was like, whoa, let's pump the brakes there ever so slightly. This is not Bret Hart in '97.
Well, what I'm worried about is that the Wrestling Observer are reporting that is the mindset in WWE.
Really?
They see Seth as a Bret Hart character, which if you're not familiar with that, is the period of time when when Bret was a babyface in Canada, and he saw himself as a babyface, but he was a massive heel everywhere else.
Yeah.
If that's how they're booking this, I think it's going to quite fundamentally unravel, because that's the wrong starting point.
Well, I was going to say, because the question is, where's he a face?
Yeah.
Like, it works with Bret because Bret was so beloved in Canada and around the world, just not in America. So it worked when he was getting nuclear heat in Detroit, and then they would go to Toronto, and he'd be treated like, the second coming of Jesus. So, but with Seth, he's just not liked anywhere. So you can't really get the babyface reaction anywhere.
Yeah, it won't work if they go in with that mindset. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, wow, what a cliffhanger to end your show on. That happened in the second hour.
Yeah. And this was a show that felt both like so long and yet somehow ran out of time.
Yeah. Well, we'll come on to the botched ending. There was quite an obvious reason for that, and I feel quite sympathetic to them for it. But let's see what your super chats have to say. That's right, it's a super chat party to see your thoughts on what's going on. So the Brock says, can't wait to see the architectural experience in action. Architectural experience.
Architectural experience.
Faction.
Oof, no thanks. No thanks.
Side note, did y'all see Knives Out? What did you think if so?
I've not seen it yet, no. I was going to go see it last weekend, but I was too hungover.
I'm seeing it tomorrow, actually, after work. But go and watch Laurie and Simon's review on Screenstalker, where they did a review of it. Des Angomas says, Seth and the AOP equals Shield 2.0.
I didn't quite see it, other than the fact they all wear... Well, AOP used to wear flak jackets, but they don't anymore.
I kind of miss that. They're there with suits. It's such like a Triple H vision for a heel main event act.
I much prefer the suits, though.
Gotta wear suits.
Yeah.
But I think I see the comparisons, and I almost hope WWE lean into that. Like Seth can say, look, I created, like, misunderstanding why the Shield was successful. Mm-hmm. In Seth's heel mind, he thinks the Shield was successful because of him. Not because of all three guys. So he's like, well, I can just make a new Shield.
Yeah.
Because I am Seth.
I did it with Kurt Angle, and it was fine. I'm really, really excited to see heel Seth back. I loved 2015 heel Seth. I thought he was so good. So I'm really excited to see what we can do with this in 2019, 2020.
I'll just read through a few more before we get on with the full review. Jobber JJ496, Super Chat Party is back. Miss talking to you guys.
Oh, we've missed talking to all of you. That's why we thought we'd bring them back. So I actually did miss Super Chats.
Yeah, I thought I'd miss the money most. And I did, actually. But then a distant second was interacting with the fans.
Absolutely.
Matthew Scheel, what is the next plan for supporting the indies? We're going to probably do another WrestleTalk scholarship next year, hopefully. Metal Bear, I'm glad Super Chats are back. For me, the interaction with your community is what set you apart from the bunch. Also, it's good to be back to have a lovely time with the boys.
Lovely time with the boys.
Much love, lads. And as always, great work. And do two more. Venom Kitetsu, staying awake after work with a huge mimosa.
Wow.
day drinking with the boys.
Hashtag day drinking with the boys.
Luke, get better soon, man.
Oh,
Feeling under the weather.
Thank you very much, Venom. I've been a big brave boy today to come in to do this.
And Colostopia on the new edits has messaged Kevin Dunn's WrestleTalk confirmed.
If this comes across like a Kevin Dunn thing, I'll be so upset.
Can we have some really quick edits?
Yeah.
Get that show of chaos.
But unfortunately, there's no zooms. There's no crash zooms on all of the cuts.
Simon, can you start squatting the hard cam? We'll get to the rest of the super chats at the end of the show, and if we run out of time in this hour slot, we'll hop over to WrestleTalk.com and finish off all the chatting there. But let's get on with, of course, beer52.com/WrestleTalk. Go over and get your free crate of 10 free beers.
It is a fantastic, brilliant service. You get some fantastic beers in there. A wonderful magazine, snacks. It's just... as I said, I've been a subscriber now for a few years, and I absolutely love it. I really look forward to every box that I get. It's just a great service, guys. And getting a free case of craft beer, UK viewers, obviously. What a wonderful service. What a brilliant offer. Christmas.
What a wonderful service.
Stop making fun of me, man. I'm trying to drink my lemon sip.
I'll just get to the community post tab poll that we put up earlier, just to give everyone else's thoughts on the episode. So Raw got average, so the middle of the road
3 out of 5.
55%.
An average show. Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Slightly skewed, a bit higher. 16% of the vote went for core, which is 4 out of 5, but 14% went with poor, 2 out of 5.
Okay, so it's in that sort of like 2 to 4 range.
I was definitely leaning more towards poor. Overall, I gave it a low average just because I love Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and I thought, as I said, I thought the Seth turning heel is a good thing. It could have been a way better angle, but I'm excited to see where it goes from there. But I think I'm also in that sort of low average range.
And it's crazy that more people weren't actually higher on this because what a corking opening segment.
Okay, so I might be...
I'm being sarcastic before you carry on.
Well, I was going to say, I might be the only person in the room here, but I really enjoyed this segment.
So it opened with Lana and Rusev officially getting a divorce, presided over by Jerry Lawler.
Well, he knows divorces.
He's had 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure at this point he is an official person to sign off divorces.
I checked the figure for my script to make sure it was 3, and he hasn't been divorced since 2002.
Wow.
So I think he's a bit rusty.
Yeah.
I think it was his bad officiating of a divorce.
Yeah.
Lana came down with... oh, by the way, the show started off with loads of pyro.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Lovely stuff.
And in the tiniest LED screen in the corner, you could see TLC this Sunday.
Yeah.
I thought that image for me summed up their selling of this pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they particularly care about TLC coming this Sunday. But actually, at least we got some matches announced for it.
Yeah.
We've got half a card now.
I bet they're saying, come on, Heyman, we need to announce more than one match. He's like, no!
It worked fine when I did it for December to Dismember.
So the first segment, which went on for a while-ish.
About half an hour, yeah.
Was Lana coming down. Most of it was Lana screaming, which
Yeah.
I actually quite enjoyed. Lana came down. That came off pervy. Lana came down with a lawyer, but Rusev, he settles his issues like a man. He doesn't hide behind a solicitor.
Nope, he just comes down to the ring. Crowd super into him, chanting Rusev Day, and he is wearing a wonderful Donald Duck t-shirt. And maybe this is why I love this segment so much. I thought the Rusev style was amazing.
Yeah, it was a Donald Duck t-shirt, but under a suit with white trainers.
Oh, what a stylish man. I did think, though, do you remember the Rusev mustache? And that just quickly disappeared. Do you think it's a Vince thing? Because Bobby Roode had a 1-week mustache as well, and then that stopped getting a push. And then Rusev had a 1-week mustache. Do you think it was just Vince like, I don't like the mustache.
Yeah.
You grow a full beard or nothing else.
It's a real shame because I love a mustache.
Me too.
But apparently only men love mustaches. I asked my lady partner's friends who were over on Saturday. They were so shrill. Whether they like mustaches, and they were like, no. And I said, what about Tom Selleck?
Yeah.
And they said, he's the only one.
Oh, he's the only one
He's
who can
the
pull
only
off.
person.
Interesting.
So Rusev did not take his divorce proceedings seriously.
Oh, no, he did not.
And that just infuriated Lana more. I thought she cut a really good promo. Like several really good promos. And even if you didn't like it and it didn't work to your tastes, you can at least acknowledge that the crowd were into it.
That's exactly it. It's what we said last week. To melt to this situation, the crowd are so into this story. And when you look at the little reaction that Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy and Andrade and Humberto were getting, this is working. This is getting over with the crowd on a weekly and consistent basis.
Yeah. And so it was kind of working towards Rusev's tease, and I'm going to sign the contract. And it probably did go a bit long. It was a bit rambly at points where they kept on going back and forth over, well, who's going to get the dog? Like, that would have worked if you introduced the possibility of a dog 4 weeks ago.
And this was just a lot of Lana screaming and screeching. And it was like, it's annoying to listen to, but that was the point, that it was annoying to listen to because she is the heel.
So Rusev says, well, let's sign, like he was completely baby-facing up. Let's sign the divorce papers. Said Rusev Day a bunch of times.
He did, yeah. I also liked as well, because I feel like Rusev is kind of making fun of this angle every now and again, where he was just like, hey guys, I made a video package. Let's watch the video package.
It is. I think that's where my enjoyment's coming in, and that's Rusev knows how bad this storyline is, and I'm living vicariously through him of, yeah, we're all experiencing a crap angle in real time. It's like one of the members of Mystery Science Theater 3000 got into the film.
Yeah.
And we're all laughing with them.
It's, I've got to think that Rusev's not sticking around. And he's now in the Batista, I'm leaving, so I just don't care anymore. And that was when Batista was at his most interesting.
Yeah, well, that's what I had assumed as well. But then Lana's re-signed a 5-year deal.
Well, you'd got to think, though, if Rusev was signing that deal, he would have signed at the same time.
That's a good point, actually. The report is that Rusev is meant to come out of this storyline looking like a mega babyface. Mm-hmm. So maybe, I don't know.
I don't know, Dean Ambrose was pushed as a mega babyface at the end of his contract run.
So Rusev says, I'll only sign the papers if I get a fight with Bobby Lashley at TLC.
Yep.
And Lashley comes down. Lashley says, I'm going to marry Lana.
I'm going to propose to her, yeah.
I'm going to propose to her when you leave, or when I beat
when
you, when the divorce goes through.
Yeah, when the divorce goes through, I'm going to propose to Lana. I'm sure he'd love to propose to Lashley. Mm-hmm. And Rusev go ahead. She's not good.
But then Rusev, quite ingeniously, to set up what would become a tables match, put Bobby Lashley through the table that they were signing the divorce papers on.
I've written here, that was a fun segment. I appeared to be the only... Like Andy Datsun was shocked when I said that I enjoyed this segment.
I think me and you... Look, I've given up on this storyline.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
As has Rusev. And I think I'm on the same level as him. So if you've already gotten over the fact that it's all going to be terrible, anything is going to be a bit of a plus.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why we enjoyed it. After that, we got the Charlie Caruso stuff with Kevin Owens backstage. That's where he got the bat.
From Mysterio, yeah.
It's like when I
the
get
lead pipe. We keep calling it a bat, but
Sorry,
it's a lead pipe.
It's a lead pipe. It's like in Zelda.
Exactly,
when you get a different weapon to level up.
It's dangerous out there.
And then we got Matt Hardy coming out.
Yeah. I mean, I've written here, this appears to be the new trend for Raw. It's just a series of squash matches.
Well, Dave Meltzer explained it quite well, I think. You know who Paul Heyman likes because they get to win these little squash matches week to week. So it's Buddy Murphy, it's Aleister Black, it's Drew McIntyre, it's Andrade.
Yeah. But they're not leading to anything.
No, that's the problem, yeah.
Yeah. And like Drew beating Matt Hardy or beating Akira Tozawa or beating whoever it is next week is not leading anywhere. Like he started a feud with Randy Orton last week, but Randy's in a feud with AJ. And Randy doesn't seem to care that Drew's got a problem with him. So it's not like none of it's doing anything.
Yeah.
It's the Viking Raiders deal. Viking Raiders have been squashing people since they came up after WrestleMania, but they've not done anything. They've won the belts and have not done anything.
Matt Hardy, meanwhile, hasn't done anything for... Well, he was on TV last week, but he lost really quickly.
I think it was a couple of weeks ago, yeah. Not sure if it was last week. It might have been the week before.
Yeah. But he hasn't done, like WWE have quite clearly decided you no longer have value to wrestling.
Yeah, that delete thing did not get over. Ergo, go back to wearing the cargo pants.
And that's your fault.
Yeah,
it's not our fault.
Exactly.
And so Matt Hardy is just now generic jobber. He has a name value. It's quite a smart use of someone like that if you're not going to actually push them to any extent. I think that's probably where John Morrison will be in 3 years' time, unfortunately.
They were in Carolina as well. It was in Matt Hardy country. So, yeah, and it was, Drew cut a promo beforehand saying that, hey, Matt had a kid last week, so congratulations to you. And the kid was cross-eyed, so at least we know you're the dad.
Yeah.
To shockingly little heat.
And then he said as well, like, with all your past issues, should you be having another kid? And, like, usually I don't mind stuff like this. But maybe it was because it didn't get any reaction, or maybe it's because WWE have actually reportedly trying to help Jeff Hardy overcome his addiction issues. Mm-hmm. Where I'm like, I didn't like this. It made me feel quite cheap and embarrassed.
And also, like, Sheamus is doing the same deal on SmackDown, right? Where it's like, I'm the real man, and the people in the locker room aren't real men. So you can't have the same character on two shows.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Well, yeah, quite.
Especially if they're blonde.
Well,
you're
absolutely right. When you're right, you're right.
So
Drew won.
But Matt got a brief flurry after the sort of nasty words that Drew said. But
that's the other thing with the squash matches, that they all follow the same pattern. The only one that didn't on this show was the Aleister Black Akira Tozawa match. But all the other squash matches follow the same deal, which is that the person who was taking the pinfall gets a little flurry, and then the person looks strong at the end.
Yeah.
And it's just the same match, copy and pasted across the show.
McIntyre just won with a Claymore, and yeah, I think it's quite clear Matt Hardy's going to leave. In February when it's up. Like money doesn't seem to be a motivating factor to him. He's even tweeted, "I want to give back to the business." You can't do that in WWE.
Yeah.
After that, we got Becky and Charlotte backstage in the locker room. This was filmed earlier in the day, apparently. And Becky said, I don't want your help, Charlotte.
Yeah, because Charlotte said, do you want to be Becky 2 belts again? As we'll beat the Kabuki Warriors and win the tag team titles. And Becky was like, no, I'm cool, thanks, but I am going to take on the Kabuki Warriors 2-on-1. And it was a segment that would then be followed up on 2 hours later, where it felt like this could have been peppered throughout the show. Because when they did eventually do this, it was suddenly like, they're like, oh, damn it, we haven't got a show next week. Oh, well, we better do all of the other segments we had planned for this in the last 20 minutes of this show then.
Yeah, there's what, again, it's like that, but that's the problem with Survivor Series. They've had to put all these storylines on hold until the 3-week build for TLC, which is, a week shorter than your usual 4-week rotation anyway. KO's still looking for AOP backstage with a bat. Then we got what I thought, like, I really liked the idea of this, and I really, really liked the match. Viking Raiders come out. I'm like, oh my god, here we go. Here's another squash match. But they say we're issuing an open challenge for the Raw Tag Team titles, and the Street Profits answer. Immediately, I'm into this. I even thought, there's a chance Street Profits could win here.
Yeah,
like after a 10-minute match, build to a rematch at the pay-per-view. And Street Profits are so charismatic. Viking Raiders are so good. Unfortunately, just haven't been given a chance to show it to the extent that they did in NXT. And it was a classic Paul Heyman structured match. And it was big move. And just some really fun stuff, particularly from Montez Ford, who did a dual cartwheel spot with
Ivar.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that stuff. Yeah, it was really, really good. It's a shame this didn't get more time.
That's it, yeah.
Like, it went 5 minutes, whereas I was looking for this to go much longer, because what it turned into was every other Viking Raider squash match we've basically seen. But when the Street Profits came out, I was like, okay, cool. Well, we'll have good, as you say, 10, 15 minutes here. Really build something out of this. Give it a lot of time. But no, it was just 5 minutes. Raiders won.
And it was completely ineffective for what they wanted to accomplish. And that is get the Street Profits, this rookie team, over in defeat. But I think having the Viking Raiders win was always the right result, whether it be through a 15-minute match or through a heel piece of interference to set up another feud, heaven forbid, for the tag division. But like you said, it went 5 minutes. Viking Raiders ultimately beat them pretty easily. And then at the end, they do this sort of like show of respect thing. They're going to do the Viking arm touch. Yeah. But I'm like, you haven't earned that.
No.
So, and you've just actually made the Street Profits look not as good as when this match started. And that's the worst thing.
It felt like #3-week push for the Street Profits.
Then Seth, like, that really, I think what that segment was for was to get Seth heat for interrupting them.
Yeah.
Because Seth came out next, and then we had the KO stuff.
Also in this, we got the announcement that Batista is being inducted into the 2020 Hall of Fame.
Well done. A lot of people say Dana Brooke should induct him.
Yeah, apparently it's going to be Fit Finlay who's going to be doing the introduction. But, hey, it's the Hall of Fame.
So someone said to me, because I said, it'd be good, Triple H makes sense as an inductor. And someone said, it should be Fit Finlay because they came up together. I was like, okay, you've read Batista's tweet saying Fit Finlay, and then you've completely invented your own story.
Yeah, because Fit Finlay did not come up in the business with Batista.
There's about 20 years between those two occurrences.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, Sami Zayn, after the sort of Seth Rollins stuff, Sami Zayn comes out.
Brand split, LOL.
With Mojo Rawley to confront Kevin Owens for slapping Mojo Rawley earlier. And Sami says... and at least they addressed it. He goes, I've asked, and now I have a managerial license, which sounds like you can sell alcohol or something.
Yeah.
To appear on both brands as a manager.
And so it looks like he is now the manager of Mojo Rawley.
I don't even know if he is, though.
Well, why else was they out there?
To do a thing. I mean, I'm not going to bet any Wrestle League points, but if that was allowed, I would say this isn't going to lead to anything. And it was just a thing. It was just a spot.
Just a spot. Just a thing to happen. Just a thing to fill time. Do you think
Drew last week. Drew had a 5-minute promo against Randy Orton. It was just a thing.
Or do you think it's going to lead to a storyline where Sami is going to try and find a new person to feud with Kevin Owens on a weekly basis? Like, well, it wasn't Mojo. It'll be No Way Jose next week. It'll be...
But Owens is feuding with Seth.
Well, AJ's feuding with Randy, but so's Drew, apparently.
Okay. Anyway, it's just... I don't mind having Sami on both shows. I just think it's really... They literally said 2 weeks ago we're going to get more distinct brands now.
Yeah.
And to just not be able to do that for more... It's less than a 3-week push.
Yeah, this company cannot have split brands. They just physically cannot do it anymore.
After this, though, we got a really good match.
Well,
just
to finish up that segment, Mojo, like, they sort of argued back and forth, and Mojo was just like, I'm not scared of Kevin Owens in his pipe. Sammy was trying to calm him down, being like, well, Mojo, like, I know that look in Kevin Owens' eyes. We really do not want to be poking the bear at this point. And Owens tossed Mojo the bat, confused him, and gave him the stunner and beat him up with the lead pipe afterwards. Gave him some pretty nasty welts.
Yeah, I thought Owens looked really good in this.
They looked great, yeah.
We got Aleister Black versus Akira Tozawa. Black versus Buddy Murphy was announced for TLC before this. I thought this combined with the Buddy Murphy match later against Zack Ryder. Great.
Yeah,
it's
really good.
It's nuts and bolts booking. You book two guys really strongly, have them win loads of matches, and then they fight.
Yeah, it was really, really solid stuff. It's a shame that the crowd weren't into it.
Oh, they weren't into it at all.
Embarrassingly quiet. But these two did some really, really good wrestling. It really showed off how good Aleister Black is. And
Tozawa.
And when that moment when Tozawa did the dive, and Black caught him with the jumping knee and then hit the Black mass inside the ring, it made Black look awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, his legs are so skinny. And
Come on, mate. Do some squats.
Do some squats, mate. Skipping leg day.
Yeah, the lateral lunges. I thought this was, for what it's worth, for a 3-4 minute, essentially, squash match, enhancement match, amazing. I don't think you can make it any better. Both guys actually looked better coming out of it. Akira Tozawa took that Black mass like a champ.
Oh, yeah, to the face.
You can see the ripples in his face, on his cheek. The only criticism I would say is that Tozawa needs to start winning something.
Otherwise, these wins mean nothing.
Yeah. It's been like 4 weeks of him losing these matches now. Caruso alert. She introduced Humberto Carrillo as one of the most impressive debuts in WWE this year.
Yeah, so 2019 has been a breakout year for Humberto Carrillo.
I mean, compared to 2018, it's more, but he has lost a horrendous amount in singles matches.
But if you include all the 205 Live stuff, I'm sure he's got a very good win-loss record.
Anyway, the interview couldn't continue because of Mexican stuff.
Yeah.
Andrade walked in with Zelina Vega, and they are just yelling at each other.
In Spanish, yeah. Which I thought was really good and really effective. And then because they argued in Spanish, and then they just walked away. And Zelina Vega just goes, "Tonight?"
Yeah.
As if they've just made a match together tonight. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't need a story.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, it makes no sense to say that Carillo is the breakout star of 2019, but I enjoyed what followed up afterwards.
Maybe Liv Morgan might be the breakout star of 2020, though.
Emelina, this is Vince's dream gimmick, and it's the third time trying. Maybe this time will be the one where it works.
So it was a graphic that just said Liv Morgan, makeover, coming soon. Now, so we've had versions of this character. We've had it with Emma into Emelina. We've had it with Eva Marie, and we've had it with Lana. Vince McMahon is obsessed with making an overly sexualized Attitude Era blonde woman character. I am optimistic that isn't what Liv Morgan's gonna get. I'm hoping she comes out as just a new character and not that one that we've seen fail many times recently.
I'm just really glad that she's not Sister Abigail, which I know a lot of people were fancy booking, but personally, I'm really glad she's not.
After that, we got Carillo versus Andrade, which was actually a very, very good TV match.
This was excellent.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. Again, like the Black Tower match, shame the crowd were not into it. They picked up by the end, but man, it was such good action, back and forth. It was really, really great.
It was off of the near fall from Andrade's stomp in the corner, and then Carillo dodges the knees, and there was this weird springboard moonsault.
Yeah,
that didn't really connect, but it still looked cool. But it was like Andrade missed the moonsault, so you always does that spot.
Yeah.
And usually does another flip over to hit another moonsault, but he goes straight into Carillo with a drop kick.
Loved that.
There were loads of really nice tweaks on usual spots for the wrestlers in this match.
Well, particularly like you say that moonsault spot where he just landed, then ran and hit those double knees in the corner. It was just beautiful, beautiful stuff, and it was back and forth action. Both guys looked really, really great, at the end of it. And then the finish saw Andrade tried to whip Carillo into Zelina Vega on the outside, but Carillo stopped himself. But then as Andrade charged, Carillo dodged, and he knocked Zelina Vega off the apron. She took a heck of a bump for it. And Carillo hit the Okana roll for the win. The commentators put this over as like a major upset.
I wish this happened 4 weeks ago before Carillo was beaten like a drum for a month. But this is good. This made me think there is still hope for Carillo and a push. Andrade and Zelina Vega argued a lot after the match. I don't think it's a split up angle.
I hope not.
I just think that Andrade was annoyed that she kind of played into it. That's what I'm hoping, because they cannot break up.
I do not want to see that act break up. Also, if you're Carillo, why are you not upset that you didn't get your United States Championship shot that you were supposed to have had a couple of weeks ago?
I don't know. Rey Mysterio, because it's on a babyface now, and that dynamic doesn't work. Rey Mysterio, speaking of, says he'll beat AJ Styles later because he's proven he's worthy. KO's still looking for AOP. Then we got the Buddy Murphy-Zack Ryder match, which was, not as good technically as the Tozawa Black match, but it did what it needed to do. It was Murphy dominating Zack Ryder. Yeah,
totally. Hit the Murphy's Law for the win. We got no reaction like the other matches, but hey, man, looks solid. Looks solid.
Then we got the KO AOP Seth Rollins reveal backstage. Yes, that did come at this point in the show.
Yeah,
just ridiculous. It's a main event worthy angle.
That should have been the end of the show.
But then we got the sort of rerun of Charlotte's match, the 2-on-1 handicap match from the previous week. So it's Becky Lynch going up against Asuka and Kairi Sane.
And it was the same as what they did last week, which is that Kabuki Warriors look a bit rubbish because they cannot beat one person 2-on-1. Struggle to do so. I thought this was better booked than it was last week because at least they were dominating for a large portion of the match, whereas last week it was Charlotte was on top for the entire match. But at the end of it, the Kabuki Warriors still had to cheat, and they hit Becky Lynch with a chair to get a DQ. So that was a bit lame.
I actually enjoyed last week's match a lot more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that maybe it's just because law of diminishing returns.
Maybe,
I'd seen
yeah.
this match. I knew how it was going to go. I think a better thing to have done to get around all the awkwardness would just be to have Asuka and Kairi saying, do the DQ immediately.
Yeah.
Charlotte runs down, and that's how you set up the tag match.
I was waiting for Charlotte to run down at some point, either during the match or particularly during the post-match beatdown, because they hit Becky Lynch with a chair, then they get a table, and Kairi Sane hits this wonderful, insane
really
elbow
cool, yeah.
from the top rope to the floor. And I'm watching this, I'm like, where's Flair? Granted, Lynch just stood right back up and she was fine. But no selling it, like, learning from Seth. So that was a bit of a disappointment. But I was like, where is Charlotte?
Well, should we do the rest of the segments now?
Well, they rapidly happened.
Yeah, because they were like, here's a match. Here's another Becky Charlotte thing. Here's an interview. Here's another Becky Charlotte thing. So after that, Becky's being seen to in the trainer's room. Charlotte comes in and goes, good match. So it's sort of this frenemy relationship. And then the Kabuki Warriors jump Charlotte outside with a chair.
Yeah. And then after another match, Caruso interviewed the Kabuki Warriors where they challenged Lynch and Flair to challenge them for the titles. Then we got an ad break.
Also, can I just add in Charlie's line about, I need to learn another language?
Yeah.
Because you've got Japanese-speaking heels, AOP in their languages, and was there another one on the show?
Well, it was the Carillo and Umberto chatting each other in Spanish.
So I got a kick out of that. That was funny.
I thought it was good. And then we had an ad break, and then we came back to Flair and Lynch both being looked at by doctors where they're not looking at each other. And Charlotte's like, I'm going to accept that match. And Lynch goes, tables, ladders, chairs.
I didn't mind it, actually. I thought it gave off the vibe of two action movie heroes who don't want to work together, but they're sitting down and they're like, let's do this one last time. I hate you. I hate you too. Let's do this.
It just this has been a rushed story, and that's the problem with it. Really, it's they did 3 weeks worth of angles in this 20-minute period.
And in the middle of all this, we got a really good OC promo. AJ Styles talking about Rey Mysterio. And
did I mishear? But did AJ say that the OC are going to be challenging Viking Raiders for the tag titles at TLC?
That is one of the rumoredly planned matches.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on it.
I don't know. It's not on WWE.com, but I thought that's what AJ said in this promo.
But they make a nice Bullet Club reference at the end where he says, if Randy Orton tries to interfere, I'll end his career for life. And then it went right into the NWO Hall of Fame announcement, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
Smart.
And it's a funny New World Order class that they're putting in. It's so it's the original trilogy of Hogan, Nash, and Hall, and then the sixth member of the group, Sean Waltman.
Yeah.
Just really, really weird to do 1, 2, 3, and 6.
So, of course, you've got the missing numbers there are the Giant, which is Big Show, and the $1 Million Man.
Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, it's so weird. Because when you think of the NWO, I think of Hogan, Nash, Hall. Brilliant. I think it should just be them, to be honest.
I completely agree, but they like Waltman.
Yeah.
So they're putting him in this.
If you had to add another member in, the Giant.
Yeah.
That's where my mind would go next. But yeah, I think that obviously...
Or Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. Sean is went in last year with DX. I think they want to do the first ever back-to-back Hall of Famer and do it that way. He's obviously in with the company because he does the watch-along stuff on pre-shows. So yeah. Well,
crapping on the Hell in a Cell finish.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, it's the WWE Hall of Fame, and it really doesn't matter.
I really liked the video package, and they had loads of shots of the NWO, and that they could not find a shot of just Hogan, Hall, and Nash and Waltman.
Yeah.
It was like they were just cutting everything. So then in between, we got another Erick Rowan versus Jobber match.
Yep.
I get at least there was a new element to this, which is where the Jobber Tactics thought, I'm going to steal Rowan's pet carrier, run it to the top of the ramp, run back down and try for the count out, win.
Yeah, and it nearly worked. But then Rowan freaked out. He kept shouting at him like, what were you thinking? Gave him 3 Iron Claw slams and the referee called off the match.
Not into this gimmick still. I think it's undone all the genuinely good work SmackDown did over the summer. on Rowan's push. But at least this was a good, the best version of what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then we got, before that, we got a SNL parody.
Yeah, Monday after the weekend news updates. Yeah. It was the Street Profits doing an SNL thing where they were kind of like, they were basically there to promote TLC and tell you, here are the matches that are happening. And they had some jokes in there. Not very funny jokes, but they had jokes. But yeah, that was about it. They just recap the matches that are happening.
The joke quality was pretty much of the level, Asuka hit the green mist. Has she eaten Baby Yoda or something?
Yeah.
So, relevant pop culture thing. Kind of like SNL. But it didn't work for me just because they had canned laughter.
I was about to say the canned laughter. I mean, they had to have canned laughter in it because the audience were not going to be laughing along with it. But the canned laughter really, really didn't help.
I disagree. I think the Street Profits, you can give them bad material. They're so charismatic. I get a kick out of it anyway. Their backstage stuff, it's not very similar. It's not dissimilar from what they were doing before. And I found that really...
That was great, yeah.
Yeah, like sort of, what's the word? Affable. But this just was quite obnoxious. It felt like it was a Firefly Funhouse episode at some times with the...
Yeah.
I didn't think it worked. It was overproduced.
But they announced in this, and I think this was announced on SmackDown as well, that Roman versus King Corbin is going to be a table, ladders, and chairs match.
That's been for a while, I think.
Well, the match was only announced on SmackDown.
Oh, I thought TLC... Oh.
No, as of the before SmackDown, there were no matches announced for TLC. It was part of my news on Friday, and that was why our weekend video was called that. But it was... I don't know why it's a TLC. What are you hanging above the ring?
Well, dog food.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Or Roman himself. They had him handcuffed up there.
Because the original gimmick stipulation that WWE had told the arena was that it was going to be a dog collar match, which makes way more sense than a TLC match.
Sense left the station a long time ago here. But the main event was a terrific bout until the end, unfortunately. But it was a very complicated spot.
Yeah.
I can't blame them too much. And that was AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio for the United States title. They got about 10 minutes. The crowd were pretty dead, but they were so good.
Yeah.
They got the crowd into it. Drop kick midair from AJ onto Rey. A Rey sunset flip powerbomb through the ropes outside on AJ onto the barricade.
Loved it. It's so good.
Innovative. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and I loved Gallows jumping onto AJ to block the 619. That was really nice stuff in there.
It was great stuff. Unfortunately, their ambition got the better of them. And I bet 9 times out of 10 they can do this.
Yeah.
The finish was AJ's on the second rope because he was sitting on the top, and Rey gets up there. Rey's going to hit a Hurricane Rana on him, but AJ would catch him and then hit a second rope Styles Clash.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great idea. But Rey's momentum kind of stumbled them both forward. They awkwardly fell off the turnbuckle.
Yep.
Rey's pants split.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. And but quick as a whip, AJ was like powerbomb Styles Clash. And then Randy Orton's spot was now already mistimed. So Randy Orton, famed for his out of nowhere things, which probably requires a lot of timing preparation. Mm-hmm. It now no longer had that. So Randy Orton awkwardly slides into the ring. AJ doesn't know where to look because everything's off. He looks at Randy. Randy just winks, slides back out. Rey Mysterio rolls him up for the win.
Yeah.
And that, like, some broadcasts didn't even have that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it cut out just before the pin.
Wow. Yeah, it was like to the wire.
Yeah, the logo, the copyright logo, was appearing just before Mysterio rolled him up.
Yeah.
And the broadcast I saw cut off with Vic Joseph going, and he's retained the
Yeah, the United States.
Yeah, good point. Mid-cards. I've got mid-carder blindness. So yeah, it's unfortunate that happened, but it was a complicated spot. It's weird though. Like, what were they trying to do? I think
that's what you just said. Then I think they were going to do the second rope Styles Clash. Randy would get in to distract AJ, and then Rey would roll him up off the back of it.
Rey would really roll up AJ after an Avalanche Styles clash.
You just said yourself, Sense left this station a long time ago.
That's the thing and that's why, and I read someone say this on Reddit, and I thought that's a really interesting observation, that AJ could have just hit a Styles clash, but he knew the spot was meant to be an Avalanche Styles clash. So a normal Styles clash wouldn't suffice. Powerbomb right into Styles clash. I don't know. Or maybe it's just an easier transition.
I thought it was just an easier transition.
But overall, a very lackluster show. That was the main event angle. What does that build for TLC?
Yeah, nothing, because Ray hasn't got a match at TLC as of now.
AJ and Orton don't have a match together.
Well, they'll announce it on Twitter.
They were look. The show that should have been in the middle of the show. They should have announced AJ versus Randy, and then the end of the show should have been Seth revealing himself.
Yeah.
And I'll see you at TLC for, I don't know. You have to find a mystery tag partner to face AOP.
Yeah.
It's not hard. But yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5. Let's do some super chats.
Well, should we do our Patreon shout-outs and then we'll do super
that's
chats?
a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get to your super chats after these Patreon shout-outs. And then if we've got any more Patreon shout-outs, super chats, we'll go over to our website where we're going to finish all these off.
It's the post-show.
The post-show. WrestleTalk Backstage.
Yeah.
So thank you to our $25 a month or more pledge hammers on Patreon. I think he's talking to you. Damian Thompson.
Lovely stuff, yeah. The monster among Patreons, Brian Strowman.
Whoa. Oh, Stream Slayer.
Nice.
Yeah, I want that to come back now he's here.
So handsome, he makes all the boys Joe Ellis.
Yeah,
Yes.
come on. Shaun of the Dead Peril.
Great movie,
Whoa.
mate, great movie. We're all going on a Brian Huntsley.
Yeah. Robin Banks. Lee Roberts.
Oh, you dastardly heel. He can last Sean Fur longer than you in the ring.
Yeah. Rebel Without a Crew, Robert Rodriguez.
Great book,
Yes.
great filmmaker. Float like a butterfly, Samed Ali.
We've met that guy, Duncan. Just
Duncan.
Yes.
And lastly, Ryan B. Bad.
Well, thank you very much. Please, if you want your own shout-outs on this show, go over to WrestleTalk's Patreon page, and you can see all the lovely exclusive stuff we've got there. Right, so now, let's see what super chats we have left. Baggy says, did Rollins steal Balor's gimmick? Because Finn Balor said if he was to create a Bullet Club out of anyone else, it would be AOP.
Really? Huh. I thought he just meant that they're both wearing leather jackets now.
That as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what has irked me a bit about this pairing. I don't see AOP and Seth as a natural fit.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll prove me wrong, though.
Maybe. Marcus Roman says, I enjoyed Humberto versus Andrade match the most. I still have so much hope if WWE gives the Latinos a push and prove Vince wrong.
Well, Paul Heyman's got the book, and that's sort of his one of his great strengths is showcasing lucha matches of Mexican talent.
Nate Drop Surname says, are we supposed to buy that Kabuki Warriors can win after they barely beat each of them 2-on-1 unless Charlotte and Becky collapse and feud again? Ugh.
I know. And I think that is one of the big annoyances of this. And that is, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not making me want to see a match.
No.
Like, there is a way to book this feud where I'm really, really into this kind of dream match of Charlotte and Becky versus Asuka and Kairi Sane. 3 of those women main evented last year's TLC.
Yeah, that's true.
And now
yeah.
you add in Kairi Sane. That's a great story.
Could have done a lot around that. But they choose not to. Tim Onzumaki says, I hope they don't botch Liv. I like her. She's a really cool person from what I've seen in her appearances on Up, Up, Down, Down.
Yeah, she's got a huge groundswell of fan support.
Fans really like Liv, yeah.
I've never really seen if you ask me, I'm more of a Sarah Logan guy.
I think Sarah Logan's great, yeah.
Because just of that sort of women's battle royal at WrestleMania and just all the stuff she hasn't done since.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan I think the fandom does come from her appearances on other shows.
Yeah, totally.
She's gotten herself over outside of WWE, which traditionally doesn't go too well. When you ended up getting the push. So, general WWE related from Sparks. I can see WrestleMania being Rusev Day.
Well, I mean, if he's going to stick around. But, yeah. I mean, do you think he could push Rusev, Brock Lesnar?
I mean, maybe that's what will get him to re-sign. But, funny enough, Bobby Lashley was always promised that Lesnar match.
That's right, he was, yeah.
Don't see that happening.
And they said that Roman's the favourite to win the Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rusev's got to find another way to get into that Lesnar match.
Tim Arndt, the crowd will ruin next year's Rumble if CM Punk isn't in it. Change my mind.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be another Daniel Bryan situation where Rey Mysterio comes out at number 30 and you're like, you're not Daniel Bryan. Yeah. Boo.
I think the way to get around it is just to announce the number 30 entrant in advance.
Yeah.
And have them win a match on Raw to decide who that's going to be. Was it Baron this year?
Yes, I'm going to say.
I think he won a match, which to do that, and that was known going in, and that's a smart move. So you don't have the expectation built up.
Yeah,
unless it is CM Punk.
Well, yeah.
Sparks. When was the last time Hardy had a pinfall win?
Probably when he was tag champs with Wyatt. Yeah, like when he was because they got injured and then was out for a long time. So it must be from the
June last year.
The Leaders of Worlds. Yeah.
NXT related, nothing there.
Well, Nick Drop Surname says swivel chairs are as cool as e-scooters.
Hey, I like my swivel chair.
All Elite DK said, I miss these super chats. Akam of AOP speaks in Punjabi.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But it's not, both of them don't speak in Punjabi. There's another.
No, it's the other one. Well. I can't remember what the other one is though. And Eric says, please stop pronouncing Andrade like that, Ollie. You're going to give me a stroke.
I don't know where it comes from. Andrade. I don't know why my tongue does that. Like I'm doing an impression of a Spanish accent.
Yeah.
Andrade. I'll try for you, Eric. I'll try and stop that from happening.
Well, that is actually the last of our super chats.
Well, okay. Well, we didn't get to do our little post-show thing after all the effort we put into it.
Well, I mean, we have spent the last 2 weeks telling you that we're not doing super chats now, so
okay,
got to rebuild,
make it stronger. We'll see how that works for future streams, though. Remember, the post-show is available. But right now, look at that. We're going to end just before the hour mark we gave ourselves.
Beautiful.
So please, press the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with the latest awesome WrestleTalk things. Go over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk and get yourselves a free case of 10 bottles of craft beer. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen. And that